Hey everyone, this is Stephen James from Project Life Mastery, and I'm here right now with Jason Flagellin. Today we're going to be talking about making money with crypto bots. This is something that I've shared with you guys already here on my YouTube channel, sharing my experience of making passive income with crypto bots. And Jason is someone that's got a lot of experience doing this, and he actually works with the original founder of this method. His name's Dan Hollings. He's the person that taught myself, Jason, this way of making money. And he works with them on this program called The Plan, which is what we're going to be talking a little bit more about later today, later in this interview as well. But I thought I'd bring on Jason just to have another person sharing his experience, his results with this method, and to answer a lot of the questions that you guys might have. So Jason, thanks for being here.
You're welcome, Stephen. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, so I thought the best way to kick it off would be doing a screen share. Right now, we're looking inside your Bitsgap account. Would you mind just kind of sharing with people what this is, what they're looking at in your own words?
Oh, totally. So first of all, a lot of people look at this. I did originally, was like, oh my God, this seems really like a lot of stuff that's going on. And it is, but a lot of this is irrelevant. What you want to get used to looking at is this is the most important thing right here. Some bot profit. And some bot profit means that these bots, when they trade, they're trading a lot. And we'll break down some specific examples of how much they're trading. They're locking in actual profit because you only make money when you're trading or investing in anything when you sell it. So if you buy it low and it goes high, you've made theoretical money, but you haven't made money because you haven't sold it. And if you sell it, then are you going to make money or are you going to lose money? Well, that depends when you sell it and how you sell it. So the bots, though, they've already sold and realized the profit. So when you see something like 36.48%, which is admittedly an outrageous number. Now, from a plan perspective, it is not anywhere close to the highest numbers I've seen. But we're looking at just the bots alone. 36% return, and that's actual locked in. This will not change. This will not go lower. It can only go higher, right? This is over a period of, you see 5 months down here, 16 days. So I set up 3 bots then I set up 3 bots, or I don't know how many bots this is. I set up a lot of bots this day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bots 2 months and 13 days ago. I set up 1 bot 2 months and 23 days ago. And then a month ago, I set up 3 more bots. Okay. So over a 5-month period, overall, a 36% increase just from the bots alone. But most of this isn't over 5 months. If we average this out, we're looking at about 3 months. So 36% in 3 months is astronomical. And that's locked in, realized in my crypto exchange, which is as good as a bank. And I can push it to my bank with one click of a button, right? This is the money that I've made, $26,266 in complete passive income that, again, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, Stephen, but it is realized. Now, this is what's not realized. Right now, the market is doing really well. Half the time, the crypto market booms, and half the time, the crypto market busts. When it goes up, it goes up. When it goes down, it goes down. If I were to close everything, then I would make 25%. And that's because I bought coins, and most of the coins that I bought, they've increased in value 11%. This one hasn't. This one hasn't. This one's completely tanked, which is kind of interesting. But most of these you can see are also in the green. Now, we don't care too much about this because I don't plan on selling a lot of these. I just let them run and do their thing because this negative 42, like, let's just look at that one. That's the worst I've ever seen, right? And it's very, very, very unlikely that happens. But guess what? I have made from this coin, even though it's went down 42%, $815. That is a fact. In 1 month, I made $815. It's not a lot, but it's something. And if I were to stop this bot and say, I want to get rid of this coin completely, then I will have lost. I put 5,000 in, right? So I will lost in coin value $1,900, but it'll offset it by $815, and I'll take a loss of $1,100. But here's my question to you, Stephen. Why would I close this if it's making me money on a day-by-day basis, even though the price is going down? And the answer is you wouldn't. And it'll probably rally in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. So this probably will turn green again. Who knows if it does or doesn't? But what I know is this will wiggle and this will produce revenue. This is the profit. This is kind of what we call like the cash flow aspect. And that's so powerful.
Yeah, I like the analogy of having real estate. Each one of these bots that you guys see here, there's several bots that Jason here has set up, and he's put anywhere from $3,000 to maybe $6,000 in some of these bots.
I put 5,000 in every single time. Yep.
5,000. Okay. So it's kind of like having your own real estate property. Now, when you have a rental property, it can go up in value or it can go down in value, but that only matters if you sell. And usually people that get into real estate, they're not doing it for the short-term purpose. They're doing it as long-term investments. And so they're okay if the market goes up, if it goes down, because they're looking over a long-term horizon. But even if it crashes, the real estate market crashes and the value of your property goes down, and you still have tenants that you're renting that property out to, they're still paying rent. You're still getting the cash flow from that. And so that's kind of how I look at the bot profit. Yep. Regardless of how well the coin does, it can be up, it can be down, and crypto is volatile. So we can expect that, but you're still making money off of that volatility. You're making money as if you're still renting it out and you're collecting that money. And oftentimes the money that you collect in the rent or the bot profit can, overcome any of the potential losses that you'll face with the coin, that the value of it going down.
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. And if we were like, this is the way I analyze this stuff, and there's a lot of ways to look at this, all of them equally valid. It's just perspective that help you feel like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Is, this has made $350 in the last month, completely passive. I've done literally nothing. This has made $1,000 essentially in a month, a month and 10 days, right? So you can kind of get an idea, like 300, 1,000, 800. This is 2 months. So you divide that in half, 700. 600, you get what I'm getting at here, right? If I have 12 bots and they're making me on average, let's for the sake of simple math, $500 a piece, how much am I cash flowing on a month by month basis? Forget the value of whether the coin goes up or down. The bots are locking in 500 times 12. That's $6,000. That is a significant amount of money, all on something that took 5,000 a piece to power. Now I get it. That's 60,000 if you're running 12 bots. Most people aren't going to start there. But who would be disappointed if they started a bot and a month later they made $815 completely passively hands off? Because once I start these things, I literally do nothing. I have not touched a single one of these. I have not adjusted a single one of these. I haven't done anything. I've just let them run. And I am absolutely the least hands-on person when it comes to this. I'm so busy with so many other things that I got. So literally you can see I had to make time once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, maybe, right? Over the last 5 months. My process is, and this is just me, once per month, I sit down and I set up a bot or 2 or 3. And that's it. And then once per week, I look at these and see how they're doing. And that's it. And that's pretty much, that's the process. Now, the idea here becomes, well, exactly, let's zoom in a little bit more so people understand exactly how these things make money. We'd like to call this the wiggle rate. So this one is not wiggling hardly at all. So this is a dud. When you like to have a dud that only makes you $350 per month, I like it. I like the duds. But this one only wiggles 0.18% daily in terms of its trading time. It's not fluctuating a whole lot to the level that I like it. Whereas if you look at something like this one, it's fluctuating 0.83%. So this means since I've owned this coin pair, I have traded it 1,786 times, or 17,000. Yes, not 1,700. So 17,000 times in the last 2 months and 13 days, I've made a trade. Now, not all trades were sell trades. I wish they were, because every time I sell this thing, I make money. But some of the times I buy it. So the buys and the greens, the reds and the sells. So essentially, I've sold this thing about 8,000-ish times. Now, how much do we make every single time we sell? Well, you can see it, 40 cents. Well, 0.40, and then it was called 41 cents, 41 cents, 41 cents, 41 cents, 41 cents, 41 cents, 41 cents. And, 41 cents, 41 cents, 41 cents, 41 cents. So how would you like to make 41 cents 8,000 times over the next 2 months and 13 days? That would be $3,000-ish in profit and I'm not doing it. The bot is doing it because, and again, and I get more granular in this, Stefan, than most people do. The bot is saying, hey, listen, I'm going to buy it at this price, 1.5233. And then I am going to sell it at a price that's slightly higher than what I bought it for. And that might be this one, which looks the same, probably because there's more decimal points behind it. So it sets a sell order at a small step up from what it buys it at. And it does that automatically. And it just does it. So it's probably this one is associated with this one. This one's associated with this one, something along those lines. And that's the way that this works, is that we buy a little bit and then we sell it at a price that's higher. If you want to look at it from a chart perspective, every red dot on there is profit. So every green dot, I buy it, and every red dot, I sell it. And that's pretty sweet, because my bot says, okay, let me buy a little bit here, and then let me sell it here. When the price goes up, I buy. When the price goes up, I sell. When the price goes down, I buy. And I'm buying it all the way up and down, all the way up and down. So even when it's going down, I'm making money because I'm buying a little bit as it goes down, and it will go up a little bit. I'll sell it as it goes down. I'm accumulating it, so I'm getting the best price I can get on it. And the bots just do all of the work. And that's the beautifulest thing of all, is that I have never seen, and Stefan, you can probably concur with this, something that is truly this passive.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I was so attracted to this and blown away, because, both you and I were always looking for ways to make passive income. We both run our own businesses. We've been involved in a lot of online businesses, but even with an online business, to get it to a point where it is passive, you have to spend a lot of time, energy, money, create systems, outsource, delegate things to be able to get it to a point where it could be passive for you. But even then, you still have to, in the world of the internet, adapt and evolve with the changes and manage that. And then you've got the stock market, where you can invest in companies that pay you dividends, but you're getting, a 3% dividend yield per year, or maybe 5% per year. With this, you're getting, on the low end of what you just shared, 0.18% per day, as high as 0.83% per day, which is pretty insane. And that's actualized. That's in your balance. That's your profit to keep. And you can also benefit from the holding of crypto coins as well, because that's what most people do in the crypto world. They buy and they hold. And
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because I love Trias as a coin. Like, I like to invest, and this is just me. There's a lot of ways you can do this. I like utility. I like things that I think are going to improve the future. And I think blockchain represents that. I want to hold Trias forever. I think it's such a great coin. And I have held it forever, like 5 months and 16 days is a long time, right? I want to continue to hold this forever. So while I'm holding it, it's making me so far 78% return, $3,923. I put $5,000 in to start, right? I've already almost replaced my principal, my investment, with just bot profits. But at the same time, the coin has also went up 68%. Now, could it go down 60% by tomorrow? Yeah, absolutely it could. Would that erase this $3,923? No, it would not. I still have that no matter what. Is it likely to go down to a degree where it will go -70 and stay there and I lose? Well, yeah, but it'd have to go so far down. It would have to lose 78% of its value just for me to break even at this point. So it'd have to drop to 68% the coins gained, plus the other 78% to wipe out, to offset the bot profits, right? That's 150% decrease. And then it would have to stay there forever in order for me to break even. So to your point, Stefan, we're hodling. This is our real estate. I bought it. The bank says it's went up. The appraiser says it's went up. Great. I don't care. I have a tenant paying me money. Right now, the bank is saying this one's went down. Well, I don't care, because I have a tenant that's paying me money and will continue to do that. And, you want to talk about Bitcoin. Everybody loves Bitcoin and I love it. I'm buying a little bit of Bitcoin pretty much every single day. I'm just chomping up Bitcoin a little bit at a time. And that's, to me, my favorite part of all is that most people will buy Bitcoin in one big giant chunk. And that's dangerous, because you're putting all your eggs in one basket, right? And who knows when you should buy it? Who knows when you should sell it? it's hard to guess at that. And a lot of people will make choices emotionally. They'll say, oh, I saw this thing on YouTube, or I heard this thing in the news, or my friend told me this thing. So I'll either buy a gigantic amount of Bitcoin or I'll sell a gigantic amount of Bitcoin. I'm just buying a small fraction of Bitcoin on a day-by-day basis. And so I'm going to hodl Bitcoin. My goal is to hodl it as long as I possibly can. Forever would be my ideal holding position. But while I'm hodling it, I'm making income. Now, Bitcoin's not going to wiggle as much as some of these other coins, but it's good to have a diverse portfolio. And we can talk about that. Now, Stefan, one thing a lot of people aren't aware of is, first of all, this is a third-party software. I can't manipulate this. I can't change these numbers. This is not a spreadsheet or a Google sheet that I could put in whatever I want, right? And this is in real time. As we have talked, you see the numbers change, right? So this is up to the moment as current as possibly yet. Now, what we haven't shown is the bots that we've closed. So you might say, oh, Jason, I got you. I know what you're doing. You're closing all the duds, and you're only leaving open the bots that are live. So that way you can prune the tree and hide all your losses. Well, let's just take a look, right? So far, you see in spot history, I haven't sold a bot from October to November. So a whole month, I haven't sold a bot. But if we were to go back to, say, September, did I sell any bots in September? I did not. Interesting, right? Did I sell any bots in August? Well, let's take a look, right? I did not. Oh, wait, I did. So the last time I've actively done anything to close a bot was in August. And you may think, well, what did you do there? Well, here's what I closed. So the opposite is true. I closed not losers. I closed some of the best winners that I've ever had. 174%, 183%. Now, the reason I closed these, in full disclosure, it wasn't because I was some genius who knew when to get out when it was high. Because again, I would have just ran Bitcoin forever, just the way that it is right here. The reason I closed these is I had to move exchanges. I wanted to go to a different exchange. And so I had to close all these down. And some of these coins aren't on the new exchanges. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. There's different opportunities all over the place, right? But the last time I actively did anything to close bots was several months ago, a long time ago. They were winners. They performed consistently alongside of what we saw live here. And the only reason I closed them was because of nothing having to do with investing. I just wanted to go to a different exchange, and that was the end of it. And so the reality is I've done one close event in the last several months. I have set up bots to go live, one per month on average. And once they go live, again, I just can't stress this enough because it seems too good to be true. I have not touched, manipulated, changed, adjusted, or did anything other than look at this column and see how profitable it is. And so let's add up the time. I don't know what it is. I wish I would have kept track of time. But at this point, you won't get there as fast as me originally. The first time you set up a bot, it'll take you about 30 minutes. But after a while, you set up a bot in about 2 to 5 minutes. So let's just say 5 minutes it took me to set these bots up, which is way longer than it did, actually. But 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, hour and 5 minutes, okay? And then let's just say it took me 5 minutes to close a bot, which it absolutely wouldn't take that long, right? Because closing a bot is essentially pushing a button. You push like 3 buttons. Well, let's just say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Let's call it 2 hours, Stefan. Let's round up and call it 2 hours. This does not, by the way, so this is an additional 17,000 here, plus an additional 26. That is not added to what we see here. This is live and this is closed. So I don't know what that is. It's a lot of money. Let's just go with the bots because that's realized profit. 26,000 plus 17,000. That is 44,000-ish dollars from 2 hours of work. Insanity. That's what we have here.
So let me ask you this, Jason. When you first discovered this, what were your thoughts? And maybe share that story.
Great
how
question.
You discovered it, because I'm sure you had the same kind of thought that I had. You and Wilson shared this with me, and Steph got to do this, and I was hesitant and skeptical, and this is too good to be true, as most people, might think or pop into their mind when they first hear about this. So what was your experience like, and how you discovered this, and how you got connected with all of this?
Yeah. So if Dan, who created this and taught me and taught you, if he would have came to me and says, "Hey, listen, I want to show you something with crypto," I wouldn't have took the call. I was not at all interested in crypto whatsoever, because I felt that it was a joke. I felt like it was the Dutch tulip, where a bunch of people are speculating on something that doesn't have any value other than to guess whether it's going to go up or down. I mean, I was woefully misinformed. This is a problem that we all do. We judge books by their cover and whatnot. But the only reason I got on there is because I've worked with Dan going on like 12 years now, something ridiculous like that, where we've been Dan's publisher off and on in his career from when he was a pioneer in mobile marketing, in Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. And so Will, my business partner, says, "Hey, Dan says to come to this call. I can't tell you what it's about. When you get on the call, he's going to show you something really cool," he says. And if Will tells me to do it, I do it. So I get on the call. And Dan essentially starts with a joke. He says, say you walk into a bar and a guy pulls out a wiggle worm. And he says, "Listen, I'm going to put this on the table. If it wiggles right, you can win money. If it wiggles left, you will lose money. Do you want to take that bet?" And he says, what the guy says in return, and he says, "I'm not going to take that bet, but I will take the following bet. I'll bet that it wiggles. I don't know in which direction it will wiggle, but I'll take the bet if it wiggles." And he goes, "That's what I'm doing in crypto." And then he showed me, he started off just like we started off here today, showing me what was going on and what he meant by that. And so he's like, "I don't know if this coin is going to go up or it's going to go down. I don't know when it's going to go up and going down." So that's the example of, I'm not guessing where it's going to wiggle. But he says, "I'm guessing that it is going to wiggle," meaning that we can consistently buy and sell it very rapidly, sometimes to the tune of 17,000 times over 2 months, that we can buy and sell 6,000 times a month or more, and we can do it completely automated. And then he showed us that. And it was hard for me to get, Stefan, because I'm like, I'm used to money being on paper. What I mean by that is the guy that says, "Listen, I bought Bitcoin when it was 20,000, now it's 60,000, I'm rich." And you say, "Great, you're buying lunch." And he's like, "Well, I can't." And you're like, "Well, what do you mean you can't?" Because it's still in the market,
Right.
And tomorrow it could go back down to 20 again. That's the absurdity of Bitcoin. And that's why I always stayed away from it. But in this particular case, this is already locked in. And I couldn't wrap my head around that at first. I'm like, how can we actually make realized profit as this thing goes up and down without doing something crazy or wonky like leverage buying, where that's essentially you're betting with money you don't even have, which is scary, or shorting the market, which is just the same thing. You're timing it. You're just flipping the chart upside down. And so when he showed this, it took me 10 minutes, Stefan, and I was like, I got it. This is absolutely, I'm in. Let's start. Let's go. Dan is super conservative. So he says, just set up bots with $5,000 in capital at most. 3,000 is the least you need to start a bot with. And he says, just set up 3. And I wanted to do more, but I followed his advice and I did that. And it started working. I kid you not. And I'm sure you've seen this too, Stefan. My favorite thing is when I set a bot, I will look at it until it makes me money. So typically that takes less than a minute. You start a bot, it'll immediately buy a small chunk of the crypto that you set up, and then it'll immediately place an order to sell it at a small fraction higher than it bought it for. And you wait a minute, maybe 2, sometimes less, and you will see money. And that's realized locked in profit. And so we love that when customers like, I started this and I made money in 1 minute. I started this and I made money in 42 seconds. I started this and I made money in 2 minutes. So I did that. I saw this. I said, this is great. Now, here's the problem, though, Stefan, is I knew, Dan took us by the hand and he sat down with us very patiently and explained it. And I'm not saying I'm some sort of genius, because in a lot of ways in my life, I'm woefully inefficient. Like I didn't learn how to tie my shoes till I was 6. I didn't learn how to drive till I was 23, right? I could go on and on about all the ways in which I have deficiencies in my life. But I have been relatively successful in business, was a multimillionaire before I was 30, grew a company that's one of the leading publishing and marketing companies in the information space. We've done very well there. So it could be construed because I've worked with money a lot. I have a lot of money. I have a good money IQ, that I could do this and take to this, and Will could take to this, and that the people Dan knew as friends could take to this as well. And that's great for them. But like as a publisher wanting to help customer bases and empower them to be successful, I'm like, could a stranger do this? Would a stranger be able to do this and follow along so we could simulate what it would be like if we were to publish something in the real world? And that's when we devised the plan, not the plan as the course, but the plan of we went out to people and we pulled them from just a small segment of our audience and says, listen, we're doing this thing in crypto. It's kind of interesting. We don't know if it'll work or not with strangers. We've never done it before. Dan's going to kind of teach it one-on-one very informally because we don't have a course. We don't have training and we want to get it in your hands as fast as possible and pay us $10,000. Because the reason we did that, Stefan, is you get some really people that will commit to take action. If you put $10 on something, you'll probably not do it, right? So we wanted to get the data to see if we could validate this. Could we teach complete strangers ad hoc, informally? Does Dan have what it takes? And so we had 53 people say, here's $10,000, let me do it. And we're like, okay, first of all, we've hit a vein. That's interesting. We took 14 of those 53 people and Dan taught them on Zoom sessions one-on-one. And they were like 2-hour sessions. I think it was like 2-hour sessions. The first session was, here's how you get your money into crypto if you don't know how to do that. And the second session was, here's how you set up bots. And so the average person had 4 hours. And we told them not to put more than 25,000 in because we didn't want to have people come out with $1 million and put it in because that still seemed unrealistic to me. And it's funny because we did this, I don't know when, May, somewhere around then. I think it was May. And to this day, Stefan, and if they come to our live webinar we're doing together, Dan still shows those original 14, every single one of them, how they're doing currently. And we've showed them now hundreds of times in front of live audiences, their results, just like we showed my results here live today. And now some of them have put in over $1 million into it or hundreds of thousands of it. But that's when we were like, okay, we now know we can teach strangers one-on-one. Which, by the way, I would argue is a less efficient way because Dan was still figuring out the pacing, figuring out how deep to go in this area, where, to get into the weeds and where to gloss over it. And there wasn't anything you could easily reference. And it was long and there was ums and ahs and pauses and bumbles and fumbles, right? So we said we can teach it to those people one-on-one. Can we teach it in a group format or a course structure? And so, again, the idea wasn't let's spend 6 months polishing this thing and making it beautiful so it wins some sort of award for, good presentation, whatnot. It was let's get this into people's hands as fast as possible. And so we beta tested it. So we took people in a course format now, and they didn't pay $10,000. They paid less than that. But nonetheless, they got in and they took it over sessions. And that allowed Dan to figure out how now to teach it in a one-to-many scenario. Not with, again, the focus on pretty slides, not on the focus on, digestible 3 to 5 minute videos that are easy to search and reference later. We're talking 1 to 2 hour sessions, right? And it worked unbelievably well. And you've seen that because you had some people you referred through to beta and their results have been phenomenal too. But the idea now is we're in the stage where we feel comfortable launching it to the public because now we have all the professional videography stuff to lay it out because we have a curriculum that 9,000 people have stress tested. We've had the support in place to build out the support with it. And we've had people in 104 countries just during beta. So we're like, okay, now we're ready to go big time with it. And that's what we have here coming up.
That's awesome. Yeah, this has blown my mind. And as I've experienced my own results with it, you can't help but share it with people and wanting to let people know about this opportunity and how they can make money with it. Now, for those of you that are interested in this, I'll put a link in the description to an upcoming training with, I'll be on it with Tatiana. You'll have a chance to meet Dan Hollings, and he'll explain more about how everything works. Jason will be there as well. I'll put a link in the description to that, or if you go to www.projectlifemastery.com/theplan, then head on over to that page. You can learn more about how this works and how to get started with this. I had referred about 300 people of my students, I did more of a private promotion just to my customers and people on my mailing list. And I formed a Facebook group of over 300 people now that are also been going through this experience over the last month or two. And I've been blown away by the results that people have been getting, which is very different than educating people on how to build a business. The one thing, we both love building businesses, is how we've made our money. But with business and teaching people to build a business, you've got to put in hard work. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to be patient. You got to use creativity, and you've got to be resourceful. And there's all these factors that come into play to build a business. And it takes a lot longer to achieve success. And unfortunately, a lot of people end up giving up in that process of building a business. With this, it's unlike anything that I've ever seen, because everybody that does it has been making money with it. And people are posting inside the group, sharing their bot profit, sharing what coins are wiggling for them. I've never seen this much enthusiasm and excitement and results that people have been getting through this process, which has just reinforced it for me and made me want to share it even more. My sister's doing it. She just made over $2,000 in bot profit. Some of my friends are doing it. It's just pretty insane. So, and by the way, I'm actually going to be sharing some of those screenshots and testimonials and whatnot. If you go to www.projectlifemastery.com/theplan, so you can see other people's experiences. I'm more than happy to share some of those with you guys if you want more proof and more evidence about how this works.
Yeah. Now, one thing I want to stress, Stefan, because I realize I didn't now, is we perhaps have led people to believe that they can just get any grid software to set up bots and just plug in any 2 coins and that they would have results like these. Absolutely not the case. What Dan has done is removed all of the noise in the crypto world, because a majority of people, I'm saying this anecdotally, I can't prove it, but my gut says that most people that run bots are going to lose money. What Dan has is a plan on specifically the types of coins that are good for these bots and the types of settings and setups that you want to put in for these bots, because you got to capture a range. Like if you look at this here, you see some greens and you see some range. That's our web that we cast to grab the profits. There's a little bit of timing. There's always good coins to bot, but those coins will change based on what Dan chose you and when you would want to start them. And so on one aspect, it's absolutely simple. But on the other aspect is if you don't have somebody to give you the simple set of rules, you are just guessing. And in that particular case, I'd rather you just buy and hold coins, because that's a more viable strategy. It won't give you cash flow in the short term. So I just want to emphasize that, Stefan, because most people don't do this, but a couple of people have in the past. They said, well, I'll just run it myself. And then they write to us and say, I lost money. And they're like mad at us. Well, yeah, of course you lost money. You went through the jungle without a guide and you thought you could eat those berries and they were poisonous. These berries that are poisonous and these berries that are nutritious, they look kind of similar. But all you need is a guide to say, this eat, this don't eat. And that's what we like to provide. And of course, because this is your real money here, you want somebody supporting you along the way and making sure that you're pushing the right buttons.
Mm-hmm. Now, what kind of mindset would you say someone needs before they go into this? Obviously, they need money. So this is something that you can't do without money. So you will need at least $3,000 minimum to set up a bot. But also just the mindset of being comfortable with volatility, maybe being comfortable if you do lose money in crypto land, which, there is some risk of being comfortable with that long-term mindset. You might maybe want to comment just on the mindset that someone needs to be involved with crypto, because obviously there's a lot of people that are terrified of crypto or they just don't understand it and they sit on the sidelines because they believe it's very risky, or, they have a mindset that prevents them from exploring this as an opportunity for them.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. The first thing I'm showing you right here is if I want to trade in demo mode with fake money, I can do that. And so this allows me to, as a switch of a button, I can simultaneously have real live money and fake pretend money on. So we always urge people to start with demo bot money, because then you can learn the system without risking anything or misclicking or any of that stuff. It'll feel better for you. But the mindset, I think, Stefan, is in the plan. We stop people from being their own worst enemy. And I'll tell you why, is because if somebody generally has to confront a loss of 43%, you know what they do? They panic and they sell. That's an emotional decision. Or on the other end, sometimes people will say, hey, listen, this is going up good. Let me just throw a whole bunch of money at it. Well, that's typically what most people would do. And then that in and of itself would disrupt the market. So then it would go down. So you would buy it at the top. And then when would you sell it? And so a lot of people, and the other reason people can't buy and hold, which is absolutely the best strategy that exists for investing in general. They get agitated. They're like, man, I'm putting money out of my pocket in the market, so my day-to-day living is getting worse on the delayed gratification possibility that 5 years from now it'll get better in the future, right? See, we get the best of both worlds. You become very immune to the emotional crippling decisions that people make with investing because you don't really pay attention to this. You pay attention to this. This is always green. I guess the first time you buy a little bit of crypto, it goes red. That's it for a couple of seconds or a minute, but it is always green. So you're always making money provided it stays within its range. And then you can see right now, usually 90-ish% of the time, it's going to stay in the range that you cash. If it breaks through the ceiling of that range, the grid follows it up, right? If it goes below it, like in this particular case, it's just going to wait for it to rebound. So there's a lot of checks and balances that are built into the system already. But ultimately, I don't think you need a mindset other than, yes, you're going to have to invest your own capital. And yes, I understand that that is scary. I also understand that you got to invest your money somewhere because if you stick it in the bank right now, it's losing 5% of its value. That's the average inflation rate. So you're losing money by saving it. You want to have liquid money. All of this is liquid. I could click it, push a button, release it, bring it back into my bank account whenever I want to. And then, so the attitude is you got to try it and you got to realize that what we're doing here is different than what 99% of people are doing in crypto. And that's why we get an advantage over it. And so I think if you can divorce yourself from the process, you're going to do good. Businesses, I love it. And you brought this up, Stefan. I love them, but there's biases. Different industries are going to perform better for you if you're a male or if you're a female. Different industries are going to perform better for you if you're young or if you're old. Creative types thrive under certain circumstances and analytical types under other circumstances. So most businesses or most money-making activities, they have bias in them. And so certain people are going to be predisposed to be better and certain people are going to be predisposed to be worse. This has none of those. It doesn't matter, young or old, whether you live in the United States or you live somewhere else. It doesn't matter. You just have to know the formula. You plug it in. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of energy where you can work your face off or you're laid up in a hospital bed and you can barely move, right? And so the attitude here is you got to invest in something and you got to have your money make money for you, regardless of how you make your money. It doesn't matter how you make your money. You got to have your money also make your money for you once you have the money, whether you're rich or you're poor starting off, whether you're, a janitor, which I think is a noble profession, or you're a high-powered CEO. Whatever money you make also should have a plan to make money for you. And so if you look at your options that are available and what you're pursuing right now, if you're not pursuing anything, you got to pursue something. And if you're pursuing something, Stefan, up until now, I would kill to get this in a year, right? I've never gotten this in a year. I would kill to get this in a year. I've gotten this in a month, and it is absolutely wiggling, as we like to call it, at a significantly lower rate. This is a dud, straight up. But I would take 7% a month on a dud. So that's the attitude. But you won't believe it. No matter how much data we throw at you, you won't believe it until you do it. So absolutely get more information going to the private training that we're doing with Stefan. And then from that, if it makes sense, we will show you, if you want to invest in yourself, how you can set these up and run them as well, as we have done for people in 104 countries. Stefan sent us 300 people to test this out on, and they've just absolutely just crushed it.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And I'm going to continue sharing openly, transparently on my YouTube channel. One thing that I should mention, though, the actual process and formula for doing this is something that Dan and his team and the plan protect. They don't want people freely sharing that. And he actually makes everybody sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, to learn this from him, because he spent years figuring this out. He's lost money in this process of figuring it out. And he's created something that's very unique that he wants to make sure is proprietary to him. And if you want to learn it, he is the only person that you can actually learn this from, at least his method of doing this sort of trading. But you'll learn more about that on the training. I encourage you guys, if this resonated with you, if this piqued your interest, if this is an opportunity that you're interested in exploring, join us on the free upcoming training. Again, that's projectlifemastery.com/theplan. and we'll see you there. And we'll also answer a lot of the questions that you might have on that training as well, if you stick around to the end. But you'll have a chance to meet Dan. He'll share the story about how we discovered this. And you'll have an opportunity to dive in if this is something that is a good fit for you. So Jason, thank you so much, man, for your time. Always appreciate it. Any final words that you want to share?
Just show up on that live training and bring your skepticism with you, but don't let it keep you from walking through the door.
Yeah, love it. Okay. Thank you guys so much. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, leave a comment below, and we'll see you guys again soon. Take care.